Hey guys, so I'm back with another video, and today is going to be another book talk that I'm super pumped to talk about. Yeah, so quick apology for my desk. It doesn't look as messy now as it did a second ago, but it is currently the beginning of the semester, so my life is a mess in every aspect of the way. Anyways, let's jump on into what book I want to talk about, and today I'm talking about Ship of the Dead by Rick Riordan. This is the third and final book in the Magnus series. Holy cow, if you have not read this, like, what are you doing with your life? Because this book is amazing, and honestly, just kind of finishing this series makes me kind of want to write middle grade, like a funny twist to it like Rick Riordan does, because holy crap. For those of you who have been living under a rock for like, what, the last 3 years, Magnus Chase is a spin-off series of Percy Jackson. We follow our main character, Magnus Chase, who, yes, is related to Annabeth Chase from the Percy Jackson series, who finds out he is a Norse demigod and basically, like, ends up going on this wild quest to basically stop Ragnarok. And holy crap, this is amazing. One of my favorite things about this series, like all of the books in general, and like really any book that Rick Riordan has really put out, his cast of characters gets more and more diverse with every book he puts out. Particularly, I don't know, I just really love this one, and you should totally read Magnus Chase. There's great different representations of all kinds in this. It's so great. I definitely suggest everybody read it. And so now I'm gonna go into some spoilery bits. Alright, so can we just first off look at this? I actually have started doing tabs. I'm super proud of myself. Not only within the last 6 months I've started actually annotating my books as I read them, but now I'm starting to flag them so it'll be easy to find, stuff that I've highlighted. So first off, holy crap, the beginning, we get Percy. This is what we've been waiting for since the end of The Hammer of Thor. There was, Annabeth was like, I think it's time for you to meet my boyfriend Percy, and we're all like, yes, Percy's coming back. And oh my god, just they are so freaking adorable. I was so glad to see them, even though it was just a short cameo. It was really great, and the fact that they're getting ready to start college breaks my heart, because I've been reading about Percy Jackson and his gang since I was in 7th grade. Can we just talk about Alex and Magnus for a second? Not in the romantic aspect yet, I will get to that in a second, but just the fact that every time one of them comes up with a bad idea, the other one's like, yeah, let's do it. Every time, it's the worst possible idea. Do you really think you should be doing that right now? And they're like, heck yeah, let's go try and do this and hope we don't die. And I'm just like, you two are just ridiculous. I have been shipping them since Alex first showed up in Hammer of Thor. They're adorable together. They fit perfectly together. They just need to get together. And I'm sorry, but Rick, you just kept me almost the entire book trying to contain it, because they're so adorable. And I think one of my favorite things is since Alex is gender fluid, her and Magnus are just on such a different level, and you can definitely tell it in some of the areas where Rick talks about it, because Magnus can just suddenly tell when Alex has switched genders, and before she even announces it to anybody else. And it's just I'm the fact that they're so in tune to each other at that level, I just love it, and I ship it even more. We finally get that kiss when they're in, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that world. It starts with the M. I don't know. It's the ice world. Holy cow. I was like, yes, finally. And she just sits there and she's like, well, I couldn't die knowing that I hadn't done that. And I'm like, ooh, this is gonna happen. And then of course Magnus just keeps thinking about it, and then he finally proclaims his love for her, and I'm like, yes. And I'm like, this is gonna happen. And then she just kind of keeps leading him on after she brings it up, so you like me, so this kiss happened, and he's trying to play it off cool, and she's like, well, I'll have to see, I don't know, we'll see where this goes. I'm like, stop playing games and just get together. And just at the ending, when Alex comes in and Magnus is covered in chocolate, and I'm pretty sure he's shirtless, and got the feels, and I'm like, something's gonna happen. Something goes down, and he lays this big-ass kiss on him, and Magnus is so happy, and I'm like, yes, this is what I want. And then just this little snippet into Magnus's head where he goes, I'll be honest, a small part of my brain thought, Alex is male right now. I have just been kissed by a dude. How do I feel about that? The rest of my brain answered, I have just been kissed by Alex Ferrero. I am absolutely great with that. And I'm just like, yes, yes. Like, oh, like, they're just like so, like, they're just so perfect together. And I love it so much. And like, this just makes me so happy because now they finally got together. And I'm just like, I love them so much. It's where they're in, I cannot pronounce these world names, like, for the life of me, but it's when they're in the elf territory. It's like, I think it's like Alfhelm is how you say it. I don't know, I'm probably saying it wrong, but when they're there and, you know, they're trying to return this cursed ring to the dwarf who supposedly owned it, that they stole it from in the last book, and, you know, Magnus is just like thinking of like a bunch of these things that he could like do with all the treasure and stuff, because that's what it does. It like makes you go crazy and greedy basically until you turn into a dragon. And so he's just thinking of all this stuff, and he's like, I could open, you know, homeless shelter and help all the children and like all this crap. And then he's like, I could save for my kids' college education. And he's like, wait a second, I can't have kids. I'm technically dead. Why does that even matter? And so then I just got to thinking, and it's kind of like this thing that I've seen like floating around like on Tumblr and Pinterest and Twitter about Hogwarts, and they're like, you know, downright that there was some hanky-panky going on in Hogwarts, and, you know, then they do something about the spell that said, like, fetus deletus, which is awful. But I was just thinking, I was like, alright, so if you technically can't get pregnant because you're technically already dead, you best well be knowing stuff's been going down in Hotel Valhalla for generations. Like, man, centuries and like basically eternity is a long ass time to just basically go fight and be killed every day until you wait to like actually be killed at Ragnarok. Like, you gotta pass the time somehow. And like, you know, there's obviously other stuff going on that we just don't talk about. The way he writes his deities' worlds is so similar to the way it is here, like on Earth, which I get because, you know, they follow wherever west, the central west or whatever is. And so like right now for the time period is the US. It's just so interesting to see things that we do in everyday today life here, like put into there. So like particularly it's when they're retelling the tale of Kavazur, whatever, the guy who like was killed and like, you know, his blood was turned into mead and he was like formed from the spit of the gods for a peace treaty. The fact that they pay taxes in the Nine Worlds, like, is super interesting to me. Like, I pay taxes now. I mean, I still don't understand how to do them. My dad does them for me, which I should probably learn how to do. I'm 21 now. I should get on that. But the fact that they pay taxes and stuff like that, I was like, that's just super interesting. Like, you wouldn't think in this all-powerful world, you know, that they would do taxes. And then, like, they even bring it up again when they're talking about the ship of the dead, Naglfar, and they're talking about it, and they're like, well, technically, it's under, I forget his name, Assert, I think is that the fire giant or whatever. It's under Surt's name in Muspel? Or the fireplace. I'm so bad at this. But the ship is technically supposed to be down there instead of up where they are. And, you know, they're talking about it and they're well, like, technically we share it, but it's under his name and it's down there for, like, tax purposes because taxes are better down there. I'm like, what the heck? Like, I guess maybe he just kind of put that in there. Like, I mean, it is a middle grade book and I definitely did not understand taxes or anything like that when I was in middle school. I mean, I knew we paid them and my dad did them. He always gets really stressed out around tax season and just everybody seems to be. But I never really understood it. And so now that I like kind of know taxes and stuff, I think it's funny because like I understand it. I'm like, that would happen. There's a reference in here that I freaking love so much, and it made my day, because I'm like, is he a secret Whovian? Because it makes me love him even more, because I haven't really talked about it on this channel, but I'm a huge Doctor Who fan. I haven't seen the latest season and the Christmas special for this year, but I'm really like well versed in like 9 through 11, not so much with 12, but like I love Doctor Who. Tennant is my doctor, just saying. 10. But anyways, it hits on page 134. Even though I was a Doctor Who fan, I didn't feel like testing the limits of our bright yellow TARDIS, because their boat is this giant ass boat, and he's like, they call it the Big Banana. I'm like, Big Banana? Like, you couldn't come up with anything else? Like, that is such a bad name. I can't really talk, though, because in my biology lecture class, we, like, got split up into groups, and she told us to name our groups, and, like, me and the other 3 girls in my group were like, what? And then I was just, like, at the end, because they all look at me because I'm a creative writing major, and they're all, you know, like, other stuff. And they're like, you're creative. And I'm like, don't put me on the spot like this. I can't come up with something, so I just go, how about the Nobodies? So our group is dubbed the Nobodies because we are not creative. But just the fact that this is just so great. I loved this little reference being slipped in there because Doctor Who and Magnus, if he's a Doctor Who fan, I love you even more, Magnus. And there's another part that I really like in here, and it's when they're staying and like the giantess's like fort or whatever. I guess, is she like Magnus's grandma or like ex-grandma, whatever she is. And they're going to wake everybody up because, you know, it's time to go stop Ragnarok down, you know, the ice glacier thing. And he goes in to wake up Hearth. When I tried to shake Hearth awake, he stuck out one hand above the covers and signed, I am not here. Boy, if that isn't me in the mornings, like, I'm fine if I wake up on my own, but like, somebody tries to wake me up and it's like, no, I'm not here. I have decided to quit life for the day. I'm just gonna stay in this like nice warm cocoon of blankets and not move for 24 hours because sleep. You need it, especially when you're a sleep-deprived college student. Can we just take a moment to, like, appreciate how kick-ass Samara is in this book? I mean, she's been pretty kick-ass through the other 2 books, and I love her. I love the diversity of her being Muslim and, you know, still sticking to her religion and doing her prayers and believing in Allah and, like, all this stuff, and not letting the fact that Norse gods actually exist deter her from her religion. I really love that aspect that Rick threw in here. It just makes it so great. I don't know. I just really loved it. And the fact that throughout the entire book she's doing Ramadan, which for those of you who don't know, which I only know the basics, like I really don't know how to go into a lot of it, but basically from what I know, Ramadan is a month-long event, and basically what they have to do is they fast from sunup to sundown. They can't eat, they can't drink, they can't swear, and they can't do some other stuff. And so Samara is participating in Ramadan. It's already halfway over by the time they start their journey, but the fact that she goes through and she stays devout to it, which they even mention, like when they first pick up Samara and Amir is there with her and they're talking about it, and he's like, there are special conditions that allow you to, you know, kind of step back from it and still be okay. And, you know, he's like, what you're doing goes under that category. And she's like, nope, I'm gonna do it. It makes me feel, you know, closer to Allah and just recharged and spiritually. But the fact that she does it, she doesn't break it. You know, she fasts every single day and, you know, then like stuffs her face at night once the sun has gone down. But holy crap, she's just amazing. And like Magnus even points that out at one point in the book where he was, I think it's when they went to go get the rest of the mead from the giant, and they had stopped for lunch before they got there, and he just like really realized he's only like, you know, I'm sitting here kind of complaining to myself that like I'm hungry or I'm tired or I'm thirsty and stuff like this. But then he's like, but then I look and like, although like I feel like crap and like everything, he's like, Samara is doing all of this but without eating or drinking, and she's not even complaining about it. And he's like, that really showed him like, hey, I need to like, you know, pull my head out of my butt and just like deal with it. I don't know. I love this, that she just like stuck so devoutly to it, even when there was a loophole for her to get out of it. Like, I don't know, I just really loved it. I love Sam. It's just great. I really hope I didn't like butcher any of that. Finally, let's talk about the ending of this book. So first off, we get a call to Annabeth. You know, she's talking to Annabeth. They're getting ready to start school. This is on page 407. He's talking to Annabeth, and it's like, I think this is awesome, Magnus, she said on the phone from California. You're amazing. I kind of needed some good news right now. That set my ears buzzing. Why did Annabeth sound like she'd been crying? You okay, cuz? She paused for a long moment. I will be. We got bad news when we got out here. I waited. She didn't elaborate. I didn't push. She would tell me if she wanted to. So, what? What's going on? What is this bad news? Why are you leaving me hanging? Because I want to know. I have to know what happened. I'm wondering maybe if it's just the fact that, like, Grover popped up at the end of the Dark Prophecy, but I don't think it's that. Like, it's gotta be something else, but, like, I want to know. I'm like, Rick, why are you leaving me hanging? Like, what the heck is going on here? You can't leave me with stuff like this. So I'm wondering if it's going to be something that's going to play into The Burning Maze, which is the third book in the Apollo trials coming out in May, or if it's something else, because I need to know. Like, you can't leave me here wondering, like, what was the bad news? What happened? Like, why are we doing bad news again? We just stopped Ragnarok! I love that, you know, Odin decided to do a favor for Magnus, and the fact that Magnus turned his uncle's mansion that he left him into a home for homeless children that could stay as long as they wanted. They were fed, clothed, there's counselors and people to help them get off the streets. I personally love that. It was a great touch. It's amazing. And the fact that Hearth and Blitzen are kind of in charge of it besides Alex and Magnus, it's just so great. And can we just talk about the fact that, like, I still feel like Hearth and Blitzen are like a thing, but like Rick won't come out and say whether they are or not. I think they are. I know a lot of people think they are. However, the very ending of this book, you know, it's like a happy ending, but like, I don't know, a lot of people talk about how they don't feel really satisfied with the ending of Riordan's books. Honestly, I've never really felt that way with any of the books. I've always liked the conclusion, and I don't know, it just kind of wraps everything up for me. However, with this book, I don't feel like it did. I mean, I like the ending, but I feel like there's more coming, particularly with the Annabeth side of things that we got in the ending. I feel like there's gonna be more, but I know it's only supposed to be a trilogy, but I want there to be more books because I really love Magnus, but maybe we'll see him and the rest of our friends, like, in a different book. I don't know. I got a lot of things going on, and I need more. I need more. Like, I need more adventures with Magnus. I need more Magnus and Alex. Like, I need more of it. I need more of all of it. After they have stopped Ragnarok, the boat takes them to the field. I don't even remember what it's called, but the field where they're supposed to all die at Ragnarok when it actually happens. And, you know, the gods are there waiting for them. And they're talking, and, you know, Magnus is talking about the meat or whatever, and then Odin's like, oh yeah, I have my own personal stockpile. It's like, what? You have your own personal stockpile, but you didn't think to be like, hey, you're probably gonna need this, so here's some. I'm gonna let you go on a very harrowing, deadly quest to find this tiny sip in some giant's lair that I stole it from, you know, hundreds of years ago. Just like, and this just even further proves that, like, the gods, I just feel like, don't really care about their children. I mean, I know some of them do, but it's like not to the point where they really think things through. I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. Obviously, I loved it. I loved every second of it. I'm so glad this was the first book I read in 2018. Because it was top notch, man. So that's it on my thoughts for this book. Let me know down below some of your thoughts. Do you agree with some stuff I said? Do you not? What did you think of the book? I would love to know. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. Until then, I will see you guys in my next video. Goodbye!